Hello and welcome back to the Power of Real Estate. I'm here with Jonathan Bibb, the owner of Covenant Heating and Cooling. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Michelle.
Absolutely. Okay, so Jonathan joins us today to share some energy efficiency tips when it comes to the air filtration in your home. So let's go inside and get started. So Jonathan, when it comes to the air filters in your home, I know this is a big deal as far as energy efficiency, but I've got to tell you, I was just recently out looking to purchase some air filters, and I was taken with the wide range that there are in price for air filters. So how do you know, anywhere from $3.50 to $33.50 for where I was, how do you know which one to buy?
That is a great question, and it's one of the most common questions that our technicians are asked when it comes to maintenance that homeowners can do to help improve their efficiency. So there's a lot of different filters out there that range in prices. You can start with a basic filter that is a fiberglass woven filter. We do not recommend those because they're not able to catch particles, enough particles in the air to protect the system and also to protect your indoor air quality.
Okay. Now, I know that you've talked about there are some specifics about an air filter that you're looking for when you're there. So this one being a pleated one.
That's right.
Is this what we're looking for?
Exactly. So you notice it looks like an expanded accordion. We call this a pleated filter. It's got enough material in it that this is the minimum that you want, because this does a great job at catching not only larger particles, but also smaller allergens as well, depending on the type of filter you purchase.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I know we've got some salt here, and you had shared that there's a nice little test that we can do.
Right.
So share about the test. I'll hold the filter for you.
So if we had a blue fiberglass woven filter here, if we poured the salt in the filter, what would happen is most of the salt would fall through.
Okay.
And if you'll notice here as we pour the salt on the pleated filter that none of the salt falls through. The reason that that's a good example of the effectiveness of a filter is because if it can't catch particles as large as salt, then the smaller things like allergens and pet dander and that kind of stuff, it's definitely not going to catch that, and so the system is just recirculating that in your home. So you want a filter that has the ability to at least catch particles as large as salt, and this is a basic pleated filter. So it's going to be at the starting range of cost for pleated filters. The higher end pleated filters go all the way up to the $30 range. They are good. The problem with those filters is if they're not properly maintained and monitored, if they become too loaded with dirt and matter, they can actually impede the airflow and cause damage to the heating and air conditioning system.
Okay. And then, of course, how does somebody know when they need to change their filter?
That's another great question. So one of the things that we've seen in the marketing of filters is that it's a little bit misleading for homeowners. If you look on the packaging, it'll often say something like 3-month filter. And it gives the impression that the filter is good for 3 months no matter what. The reality is that it depends on the homeowner, it depends on the home and how much traffic, if there's pets in the home or not. There's sometimes filters need to be replaced every month. And so a good reminder is every time you get your electric bill or your gas bill, remember to check your filter. If your filter's dirty, then it needs to be replaced. If you don't replace it, your electric bill, your gas bill is going to be higher.
Because it's fighting to suck all of that stuff through. Okay.
And so as you can see here, we got an example of what the filters would look like. You notice this one being a new filter, it's white. Sometimes they're off-white, but you can see the clear contrast of a clean filter and a dirty filter. When it starts getting this charcoal look, or if you see dust accumulating on the filter, it's time to replace it.
Okay, so Jonathan, we've already covered what filters to use and then when to change the filter, but is there anything we need to know when it comes to how to change a filter?
Right, and that is another great question. So how to change the filter? Well, if you're using pleated filters like we recommend, on most pleated filters, you'll notice there's an airflow sign.
Okay.
While on the return air, which is where these should be installed, typically in the wall, the air is pulling in. So the arrow points toward the wall. You also notice on the back of the filter there's a screen mesh. And just remember, because the air is going in that way, the purpose of the screen mesh is to prevent this material from being pulled off of the filter into the system. So the screen always goes toward the wall.
Okay, that's great information. And again, Jonathan with Covenant Heating and Cooling. He's who we call for all of our heating and cooling needs. That's it for this week's show, but you can check us out anytime at NashvilleMichelle.com.